Hi everyone, it's me, Rachel, the weird girl who tells you animal facts again. I'm once again dropping by to teach you about animal training. My question is animal training beneficial to animals in captivity? And my answer is yes. There are, of course, extreme examples of when this is in fact a fallacy, but in general, animal training greatly benefits the animals who live in zoos, aquariums, and wildlife education facilities such as my job, Drumlin Farm. Animal training benefits the animals through keeping their minds engaged in enriching training sessions. Training certain behaviors themselves can lessen stress for the animal and animal caregiver by making them easier to work with. And lastly, scientific discoveries and breeding programs which have saved species in the wild from extinction, which is something that really excites me. I'm a wildlife biology major here at FSU, and it is my dream to do conservation research. I love animals, and I have studied and gained licensure through the state of Massachusetts to legally rehabilitate wildlife. Through pursuing this passion, I began volunteering at the Drumlin Farm Educational Wildlife Facility. And after a year of volunteering, when a position opened, the manager asked me if I would be interested in working there, and that's how I got my current job. My two bosses are my experts, Colleen Dotrey and Meg Stone. Colleen has a career working in veterinary science and at zoos. She also rehabilitates bats. Meg, who I mentioned in my previous speech, worked at the Ecotarium and was a marine mammal trainer at the New England Aquarium for a decade. While working alongside them and my other coworkers, and using the resource library at the facility, I have learned so much, but recently I have been trying to focus on animal training, and that's why I made it the focal point for my presentation in this class. I borrowed this book from my job to help me write an animal training plan for a turkey vulture and have referenced it for my previous speech and also for this one. So, my first point is that animal training keeps the animals healthier by keeping their minds engaged. I spoke about this a bit in my first presentation, but essentially animals in captivity with nothing to do get bored, just like us. Imagine being locked in your house and immediate yard all day with nothing to interact with. I'm not sure if any of you have seen the cult classic The Shining, but that's basically the plot of the movie. There were some ghosts involved, but essentially that's it, and the guy goes crazy. A training session with a keeper will help keep an animal stay mentally active, learning a new skill, and the skill could translate to something they can interact with in the enclosure. This isn't the only time animals in captivity are mentally stimulated. They always have enrichment items in their enclosure. So think like a frozen Kong ball with peanut butter in it for a dog. They'll chew on it all day long trying to get the treats out. My second point is animal training can alleviate stress. Now, there are some behaviors that are trained in circuses and other places that are for human entertainment and could cause stress. But if you recall from my first speech on this subject, there was a study conducted that found that the mental stimulation from training of behaviors actually resulted in the circus animals scoring healthier overall than their zoo counterparts before the use of animal training was widely accepted as a positive husbandry practice. I'm not sure if any of you are in Wildlife Club, but I did an educational program last month with some of the animals from my job. One of them was a Virginia opossum. This is a stuffed animal of a Virginia opossum. The opossum at my job is trained to go in and out of an animal carrier. When he sees the door open, he'll go right in. This is a perfect example of a way that training a behavior alleviates stress. Instead of having to catch him and go to and from the program, I simply opened the door of his carrier and he walked right in. And the same with leaving. I just opened the door and he went right in. I rewarded him with a grape, which I have come to learn is the favorite food of all opossums. My final point, and one that I think is really exciting, is research and conservation advances have been made with animals in captivity. A fantastic example of this is the California condor, a close relative of the turkey vulture, which is the animal that I referenced previously saying that I'm making a training plan for. California condors have a unique reproductive cycle and do not reach sexual maturity till they are 6 years old. They also only lay one egg at a time. In 1982, it was estimated that only 22 condors existed in the world. Zookeepers were able to raise condors in captivity, ensuring their safety to reach sexual maturity, beginning the breeding program. The zoologists had another astonishing discovery, which was if they took the first egg away and incubated it elsewhere, the condors would lay one more egg, increasing the productivity by 100%. Zoologists have been able to release condors who have gone on to survive in the wild and reproduce living outside of the zoo. The combined total of California condors living in the wild and zoos is still only around 500, which is still not that many, but an incredible turnaround. If it were not for raising California condors in captivity, this critical information about their life history may not have been discovered until it was too late. Well, that is all I have for the speech. In synopsis, I am in support of using animal training with captive animals, with 3 supporting points: that it engages the animals mentally, de-stresses the animal by having a working relationship with its keeper, and that in turn, that working relationship can help the keeper get close enough to the animal to make critical scientific advances with regards to some endangered animals' life histories that could in the end help save the species. So thank you so much for listening to my speech. I hope that you learned something. Bye.